All right, hey everybody, welcome out. This is Johnson Cast number 438, and today we have a very, very special guest with us, a man.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me,
Danny,
Jordan.
thank you
I'm glad
so
I
much
could be
for
here.
being here. Mike, Wim, what's up? We got Wim Becker today.
Oh yeah, Wim's here too.
Oh, hey, wow. Thanks for the invite, you guys. It's really cool to see you. I see Mike often. Danny, we live on the same street, so I do see Danny. Last time was probably the summer. I was trying to jog by your house and we were laughing because you'd just gotten a gym membership and we were like, I don't know, man. And Jordan, I haven't seen you forever. How many years has it been since I talked to
I think
you? It feels like it's
I think the last time I probably saw you was at a wood carver hard-hearted show. Probably like I was thinking about. I think it was the
Holy
wide
moly.
That's like
like
2009.
2009 or 2010. It's been like 15 years probably.
Jeepers. Yeah, I have a memory of seeing you at one of the bass festivals out there at the one of Onshura.
Oh, that's true. That's right. So, but that probably wouldn't have been more than 2011 or 12.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, man, it's been a hot minute.
yeah.
Are you
Great to
still?
see you.
Yeah, you too. What are you doing musically right now? What are you doing in general, Wim?
Just collecting guitar pedals.
Wim,
Yeah,
do you have this pedal here?
The Death Punch.
I don't have
Or is
that pedal. Can I have it?
maybe this switch right here makes the eyes light up when you play
Whoa.
a note.
It'd be funny if it was just a chorus.
Jamie Olson made this pedal.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's awesome. He modded a tube screamer for me like way back in the day,
Oh,
but
he did?
it made it like way heavy, so I never quite used it. But funny because that reminds me of Should Rock, I guess the song that we're supposed to talk about.
We'll get to it.
Um, that's probably the heaviest like 2 minutes I ever recorded, like as far as the tone I was trying to get. So wasn't that sort of like the gist of a little bit what you were going after on the lyrics was kind of the sort of the metal, rap metal kind of genre of the time, the early 2000s that was kind of everywhere.
Yeah, those lyrics, I'm angry and I'm pissed, so I wrote a song about it. I should have took a chill. Instead, I went without it.
Yeah.
I think we were basically, I think it was like the Limp Bizkit era that we were kind
Yeah.
of talking about.
Did you guys happen to see there was a documentary on Woodstock 99, I think is what it was. Is that the one where like the whole place
It
got set
burned
on
down.
fire?
Hmm.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there was a documentary that was on Netflix. And on that documentary, they talk about the demographic of that crowd and how they're basically kind of using some of the similar words that we used in Should Rock. And
Did you
Yeah.
guys know that I was at Woodstock 99? I've got the shirt to
wow,
prove it, and I got a picture in
Really?
front of me just before it all burned down.
weren't you a missionary or something?
Yeah, I was a missionary, so we just uh we just heard that Woodstock was going on, and we were like, we should go there.
Baptize some people?
Holding up
And
some
we,
scriptures.
yeah,
And you're
we're
like,
like,
baptism by fire.
you guys are sinners. But we got to see. I think we did see Limp Bizkit. We saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers,
That's when it
and
all
then
went to hell, right? Was the
and
Chili
then
Peppers?
things started to get crazy, so we booked it out of there.
Man, I don't even like going to little shows anymore. You wouldn't catch me dead at one of those festivals these days. Yeah,
Wim, so basically we've just been talking about the release on the streaming platforms of life-saving apparatus. We were waxing nostalgic on that mixing session. I think you were there for the mixing session. Weren't you down at Boho Digitalia with Mike and I when we were mixing that EP? Do you
oh my
remember?
gosh. Great question. What I remember making this EP was in Jordan's basement and it was cold and it was hard to keep your guitar in tune.
It was either
And
ice cold or burning hot. Nothing in between.
yeah, and you would show up and you'd do like two or three takes, and that was kind of all the time you had, and you'd kind of pack your stuff back up and walk back up the stairs. I usually brought the biggest amp I had so I could shuffle it down those concrete stairs. And I remember recording there, but
You and
I
I
don't remember
remember.
mixing.
I remember us sitting around that propane heater or kerosene heater, whatever it was,
Yep.
And while someone would be recording, and the rest of us would be sitting right next to the heater trying to get our hands warm.
Yeah.
We believed that there was no way that heater could put out any like toxic gas, but it was burning propane. So it
That's
had to go
kerosene,
somewhere. It
wasn't
didn't
it?
just absorb it.
Well, we opened one of the windows with like a crack, remember? Because we had to cut the carpet around the window
That's
to
right.
open it.
Maybe we opened the coal
Yeah.
chute, the door on the carpet door, and opened the coal chute and let all the spiders in.
Yeah. And I remember James Taylor was sitting there with us, and we could touch the sides of the heater. Wim's like, "Look, you can touch it." And James like touches it, and then Wim's like, "Now touch the top," and he goes, "He's like, ah!" The top got really hot, but the sides didn't.
Oh, it's kind of a dick move. I also remember giving you a mint because you were like, what are you chewing on there?" I'm
Oh
like, "It's just
yeah.
a mint. Do you want one?" And you're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, make sure you just put it in your lip, right?" Danny, you remember what it tasted like, right?
Yeah, it tasted like
You said it
bee
tasted
sting,
like bee stings.
bee stings. Tasted just like bee stings with a little bit of peppermint.
Gave you a nice little pick me up too, I bet.
He's
Yeah.
never smoked since.
It made you quit. So
Yeah.
it works.
But it was off that pep in his step that I think we probably wrote this song. This is Should Rock, which originally was called, do you guys remember? It was the Wim Becker Shuffle for a long time.
Because
Yeah, I
Wim
didn't
came up
remember
with
that.
all the riffs for it.
And I
Is
think
that right?
and I think it was one of the very yeah, I think it
Yeah.
was one of the very first songs that we really put together when Wim joined the band.
Oh wow. Well, now it makes sense
Yeah.
why
It
you
was
asked me to listen to this one. I didn't. I thought it was a Jordan song.
No, you came up with the riffs for this. I remember you saying, because it was when you were working at Music Village, and you said you were taking like all of the riffs you could think of that Nirvana would play and put them into one song or something like that.
No, that doesn't
Does that
sound
sound
right.
familiar?
No.
I don't know.
I will say that I listened to it and I was like, oh, immediately I'm like, oh, I think I'm panned left because I can kind of recognize my mid-range tone that I still try to get these days. It hasn't changed much. And I'm like, oh God, from the first note, it sounds like I'm just trying to keep up. It's like it's really cooking, and I'm like, I'm already behind the beat, I feel like.
Why don't we throw
Yeah,
on
let's hear this thing.
Yeah, let's throw on a little bit and then we can chit chat about it. All right, here is Should Rock, originally the Wim Becker Shuffle. Here we go.
I'm angry and I'm pissed and I wrote a song about it. I should have took a chill and said I went without it. I lament upon the things that never really matter. I burned the toast and plugged the loo and now I'm getting fatter. This song is really heavy and it sounds just like we're mad. We know our hats are backwards, but really we are glad. I add a string to my guitar to take it to the limit. Our singer's arms are crippled and his body's just a finish. Someone was told me to rock. You guys should rock. So we'll rock. And we'll rock. And we'll rock.
All right, I'll pause it there.
I think I want to go back to that. We'll just talk about those first line of lyrics. I burnt the toast and clogged the loo, and now I'm getting fatter. That's like some genius lyrics.
So that was like a precursor to saying we're already kind of getting a little too old for this shit. In 2001.
We were already over it, already jaded.
Just imagine how mad you'd be if you burnt the toast, clogged the loo, and
You had to wait the whole time.
yeah.
If I remember it, yeah, I add a string to my guitar to take it to the limit. Who was playing with a 7 string at the time? Was it Wes Borland? Was he doing the 7 string?
All
Oh,
those
yeah.
guys were playing 7 strings.
Corn, I guess, right?
Oh yeah.
I kind of feel like with some of those lyrics, like the seven string guitar, the hat on backwards. I mean, this would have been 2000, so that would have been Bizkit's heyday. So I kind of feel like we were just
We
poking.
were ahead of our time in hating Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, I was probably working at the music store and those guitars would start coming in. There was the K7, the Korn signature. You could get the one guys or the other guys. They both had a signature Ibanez 7 string, and at the 12th fret it said K7 or something like that, and kind of scary writing. We would make fun of him because I think Wes Borland, I think he probably just should have had a baritone guitar, because he said that he had two high E strings on the thing because he didn't know what to do with like the full range of it, just had the low B or whatever. But yeah.
Mhm.
Do you guys
For the layman, to add a string to your guitar in this reference of the song would be to add a lower string so that you could sound even heavier. Yeah.
still to this day, I don't know what I would do with that seventh string. Every time I see someone play with it, I'm just like, I would get dizzy playing it.
Same.
Well, I remember when Win joined the band, I think I had a 5 string bass. It was an Ibanez, sounded like garbage anyway, but Win talked me into getting a 4 string. Why do you need 5 strings? You use all those strings? Like, well, not really, I guess.
I
Then
stand by that.
I just went to 4 string, and yeah, it was the right choice. You don't
Yeah,
need
you
an
had some
extra
sweet
string.
basses. I don't know if we want to digress too far, but you had a sweet silver tone and a Les Paul bass and some
Yeah,
sweet.
there's the Les Paul bass right there.
Oh
Is it a
yeah,
Gibson by
there it
chance?
is.
Yeah, it's an actual Gibson.
If you look at
Yeah,
the
you can tell by
headstock,
the logo.
But yeah, what's on the headstock there? That's
So
how you
yeah,
know.
it's a Gibson Les Paul bass. You can see it says Les Paul right there.
Yep.
And it
We just
says
see the
Gibson right there.
I
Oh, it
I did
is.
that. I had that same custom shop model on a white Les Paul that I had, except it was Gibsen. So it was like,
Those are still really nice guitars.
They're
oh, I
worth
know.
more.
Yeah, I know. They're like probably nicer, I guess.
so this album, Life Saving Apparatus, was a considerably louder album than Conversation with Tom Foolery. And we've talked about reasons why, and we basically go, "Well, why did that album take such a loud turn?" And we're like, it's basically the influence of Wim Becker in the band. I think
Oh,
pushed us definitely in that direction. No, but it was a good turn, and the whole album is definitely big. But I think Should Rock was the biggest of them all. We get the Mike in the background telling us we should rock, but if we skip to the second chorus, you can hear
I know
Mike,
who it is, and it's Jordan's mom, and it's my favorite part in the song.
and I don't know why she sounds the way she does, but let's go ahead and listen to that because yeah, my mom makes an appearance on this song. Here we go.
My mom was told me to rock.
You boys should rock.
So we'll rock. And we'll rock. And we'll rock!
Yeah, there was
I can
Sandy.
still remember when she came down to record. We just, like had it all set up for her, and we're like, Jordan, we should actually get your mom to record this part, and she was all for it. That was awesome.
My mom
You
was a
can tell she's stoked when she's like, just her voice. She's like super like pumped.
She sounds way pumped to say it. It's like I can envision her on like her tippy toes, like really like reaching up into that microphone, like you boys should rock, and like lifts it up an octave. And she really delivered it, and she did it well, I
She did
think.
it so good. Yeah. How many takes do you think?
Probably just one.
I think it was a one and done.
Clean one taker? Yeah, sounds about right.
I think though I've talked to her, here and there over the years about that song and how she was on that recording, and I think she's proud that she was on it. I think she wears it as a badge of honor. My mom and dad were big supporters. It's kind of crazy that they let us occupy that jam space for all those years and made all that sound, and they loved it. They loved hearing all that music we were playing for all those years.
Yeah, it was an awesome space for us because we could spread out and have a nice room. yeah, your parents were nice enough to let us be down there, and
I think it was good that the
I know
room
that
was big enough that we didn't die from all the propane fumes. It could disperse a little bit. What's your guys' favorite memory of Orange Studios? The hauling, like Wim mentioned, the hauling of the gear down the 25 steps.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, how we would do that, but I feel like I can't even imagine like playing in multiple bands like I used to do back then, but it seemed like I had the one amp that I would use and I would haul it, back and forth here to, and I'd bring it every time. I feel like
well,
and haul
most
it
of the
down.
time I remember the first time you jammed with us, and you brought your amp down, and we had this jam, and then we were done, and you're like, "Do you mind if I just leave this amp here?" And then we looked at each other and we're like, "Well, I guess he's in the band."
That's the equivalent of, do you want to go steady? Like, can I leave my...
Yeah. And then
I guess
I
that's
I
right.
think
Yeah.
you had I think for the most part, I know I left my bass amp there. The door was never locked either, because like if I needed to go there to get something, even if or his mom wasn't there, I could just walk in through the garage and then go straight down and right into the house and into the room.
Where everything
But
valuable that we had could ever afford was all in one place for anyone's taken.
right, anyone could have stolen it at any time.
There
But
was
yeah, we did have to haul our stuff in and out when we had gigs, but I think most of the time we left it.
Well, it was a great spot, and yeah, to your parents' credit, we just would turn up as loud as I feel like we felt like we needed to, and it was always real loud in there, and it was just awesome just to go let loose in that concrete basement. I
Yep.
remember I'd do pull-ups on the rafters, I feel.
And I remember, Jordan, do you remember us picking up that orange carpet and hanging it up?
Yep. It stayed up until it was up until I purposely took it down, like, I don't know, 6 years ago. It was up and it was affixed with a combination of
Liquid nails.
liquid nails, like a little bit of squiggly liquid nails, and we pressed it up, and then we put concrete nails in. But the concrete nail
They're
only
like in like this far.
it went in further, it just chipped the concrete. So we got them all in there like a centimeter deep, and it held for, I don't know, 20 years, 25 years.
Yeah.
Well, the production on this thing sounds good. Like I can't remember the little digital like workstation you had, but I mean it sounds great, I think. Have
That
you done any like post like recent mastering or mixing or anything on it, or is it just how it was?
No, I ran it through some stuff, try to bump up the volume a little bit and little EQ and compression on it before we put it on the streaming stuff.
For the most part, I mean, it was a pretty clean master, right? Mike, you weren't compressing, smushing too much, were you?
No, no.
So I think we talked about that on a previous episode, but it's like it was the Roland VS 1680. So we had a total of 16 tracks to get the job done. We could use two effects at the same time, and that was it. There was no, you couldn't see WAV files, you couldn't really punch. It was just kind of like, I mean, you could, but it was like you better get it or not, because you couldn't edit it after.
Yeah.
And I thought we did pretty good. This was the first album we actually had preamps on and like condenser microphones on. Everything before that, we weren't using anything like that. So I thought we did.
What were the two effects that we could use?
I think we
And
only,
did we ever use them?
yeah, we used reverb, and then we always used the Satan voice anytime we
Oh
needed
yeah.
minions in the background. So the two most popular.
That's a
And
good use. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think this was the second album I had really recorded, and then I think Matt Weiniger did a lot of good work on making sure that it sounded as good as it did, because I think it needed some work probably. Anything else you guys remember about Should Rock that the people should know, and why they should go out and stream this one?
What do you think? I wanted to hear that build before the chorus again, and maybe talk about that and like what's going on in that part.
The
Yeah,
one
it feels like
before-
I was doing like an ascending thing and you were coming down and we
Yeah.
Let's dive into the music on this one and talk about some of those parts. Should we do the lead up right before the second chorus?
My mom was told me to rock.
When what were we doing on that one? Were we doing ships passing in the night with the guitars on that one?
I during our little Zoom break, I picked up my guitar to see if I could even remember that, and anyway, it's like this is what I just retaught myself.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever, something like that. So it's like power chord diminished, power chord diminished, power chord diminished type of a
Nice.
setup on that part. And then I think you were probably just,
Yeah.
you know,
So it was
nice.
passing ships. It was we were doing the old, well, if you're going that way, I'm going that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you
I
guys
think
remember
on
what?
the bass, I was just trying to do something like for the first two rounds. I followed the guitar and then I started at the top and came down.
Do you guys remember what amps you were using?
That's a great question. Did we track all this on you on your one of your match lists? Were you on a Chieftain? Were you on a matchless 30? Do you remember what we tracked on? Or was it an orange?
It sounds like the match list, the Chieftain 212. I think whenever I had an opportunity to record, I would bring that thing because that was I was real proud of that thing because it
You
cost me
still
all the
have it?
money I had at one point. Yeah. Yeah, I do. Yep. It's
Nice.
right back here. It's got the knobs right here. You can kind of see the
Yep.
white knobs there.
I still reference you when I'm like dialing in tone. Do you still adhere to the all tone knobs to 10?
Right on. Well, probably. I used to do that with this amp, if you can see that. This one here, the
Marshall.
JTM 45, like yeah, that was kind of the strategy on those things, I think, to get the most out of them. Just turned everything up. That's
It wasn't
probably
the
the amp.
guys. What's the best advice you guys ever got from Wim Becker?
One time, Wim told me that turkey was probably worse for you than cigarettes.
I say turkey.
Beef
Jerky.
jerky.
Oh, beef turkey. Do you guys remember the video we made with Wim smoking on the driveway? And
Yeah.
and he was like puffing on like 5 cigarettes at once or something.
I was trying to get Danny to smoke one, I'm sure.
That was the funniest video. I wish we still had it. He just kept smoking cigarettes and saying that smoking is bad.
Check this out.
Oh, look at that. The
The
lunchbox
lunchbox.
Oh,
There
wow.
it is.
with him lighting up Danny's cigarette.
Jordan, were you as annoyed as you looked in that picture? Do you remember?
I don't know. Let me see. I feel like for some reason the persona that I adopted as we were exaggerating our emotions on stage, I always ended up being the annoyed one, and I don't know why that came out.
You were
It worked.
angry and you were pissed.
Song
You wrote a song about it.
about it. Mike, what's your favorite Wim Becker memory? What's the advice he gave you that has lingered longer?
I love that we just got louder when Wim joined the band.
Mhm.
It made it way easier for me. Because drums
on.
they're not quiet. They're not quiet at all.
I remember, he told Danny to drop the fifth string on his bass. I thought that was good advice. I do remember to this day, Wim looked over at me one day and he's like, how thick of a pick are you playing? I'm like, I don't know, point 0.5 something. And he's like, no. Like reaches in his pocket, pulls out a Dunlop 2.0, hands it to me, and it changed my life. I have never, so this isn't a Dunlop, but I do play 2.0. I've played 2.0s ever since that conversation. Wim's
Oh,
like,
cool.
you got to play heavy picks if you're going to play this stuff.
I don't know if you guys saw the I don't know if you guys saw the I think it was a Rick Beato video with Zappa's kid, Dweezil Zappa.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he was talking about learning the Eddie Van Halen guitar slide with the pick. And he said the secret is super thin picks. He's like, if you have a thick pick, it doesn't work. And that's why he said he had so many picks everywhere, because he would be sliding and just burning through picks. You'd have to huck them out and get a new pick. So,
I mean, if you're doing that more than once a show, you're overdoing it, I feel like. Every song.
It's like
We should have done that. What were we thinking?
Isn't
I
there a
mean-
slide somewhere in here at the beginning?
it's it's how it opens. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Here's a pick burner for you. Actually, that's not a pick burner. That's just the old left hand driving down.
That's the Jordan slide down. I want to say.
It could have been,
I think that's you.
The Jordan Olsen slide down.
as they said, as the T-shirts.
The
all
J
said.
slide. Yeah, that's the J slide.
You
Do
know, we
it
were
one more
talking.
time.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the J slide.
it's got
It
that.
was on the right side.
It is on the right side. You know, we were talking amps. I don't know what I was playing. I was playing probably something garbage at the time. The album before this was like some crate solid state, something or other with extra heavy chorusing effect if you needed it.
I remember you
Yeah,
had a Zinky in the. Yeah.
Was this the
sorry.
Zinky era? This was the Mofo?
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you.
That was a fun little amp with the separate 212 cab.
Yeah.
And I think I was playing a Telecaster at the time. I think I was playing Hawthorne's old Highway 1. I think it was Telecaster.
That was a sweet Telecaster. I wish you still had it. That was a Japanese Tele,
I
wasn't
know.
it?
It was. And it was, I shouldn't have sold. There was a whole bunch of guitars I should have never sold, but yeah, that one was a cool little lipstick pickup.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Wim, what memories you joined the band on the second album, and we did that, and then we were working towards a third album. Did you ever hear unreleased super hits with songs,
Yeah,
handlines and taping and all those songs?
yeah, I feel like Mike maybe did send me a link to that some years ago. Or yeah, how would it have been released? Was it on?
Well, I think we had some CDs or something made, didn't we?
Probably.
They were just for order only.
Right, like a drop
So-
ship.
It was only on colored collectible vinyl, 20 copies.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I have a copy of the CD.
I don't have any of the
Mike-
CDs. Do you guys have any of the CDs, the hard copies?
Mike just bought the lunchbox and the panties that had Wim Space
Wim
on
Space on it.
You keep the panties in the lunchbox?
I forgot about
Never
that.
bought the panties. Didn't see a whole lot of use for those.
They weren't just panties, they were a thong. I
That's
believe.
right.
Wim's face.
Yeah, I was like this.
Oh man, that was funny. I forgot about
I
all
forgot
those
about
funny
those.
things.
Holy
I
cow.
like to think somewhere down the road, like if you ever Google search my name, that's like buried somewhere deep in Google Images.
In the Wayback Machine, that's how you find Wim Becker.
Yeah.
I like to think that if Old Man Johnson, if we had been around doing what we were doing in the era of like TikTok or Instagram or something, I kind of feel like it would have blown up. I feel like we were a little ahead of our time, posting videos on the web when people had to like download the video for 13 minutes before they could even watch it.
Yeah, I remember you were into all that stuff, man. It was really cool. I never would have had any marketing ideas like you had back in the day, from internet content to panties.
Still to this day, people occasionally ask if we've ever had a rematch against Orpheum. Do you guys
Do you
remember
remember
how
Orpheum?
we took second place to Orpheum in the Ogden Battle of the Bands?
And then we like fabricated an online beef with them or something.
We called them out. We were coming for them.
And someone broke the second place trophy in half on the video. Remember that?
And I just remember,
No, yeah, depending on what kind of sense of humor they had, they might have really thought we
I think
had
they were
dicks.
Jordan. Didn't they contact you or something? And
I think there was like a conversation of like, "Hey man, what's up? Like, what's going on, guys? We didn't know." Because our video ends with us going, "Orpheum," with the fist coming for you.
And I think the story about that is still our bio on Spotify.
Oh
it
yeah,
is. That's a funny bio.
Hold on, let us read that to you, Wim. Have you seen the bio on Spotify?
No.
You got it.
Since the year 2000, Old Man Johnson has enjoyed the throne as East Layton's best band. In 2002, OMJ branched out to become the best band in Ogden, but took second place in a battle of the bands to Ogden legends Orpheum. The sting has never worn off, and the band has been planning their revenge for the past 22 years. That day of vengeance is now, as Old Man Johnson just released their newest smash hit, I'm a Sucker for Your Love. With just over 38 streams on its release date, it appears OMJ has got Orpheum on the ropes.
That's amazing. I love that. Wow.
I think we only had 10 streams of the Spider Bomb on its release day. So
So
we're on a downhill slide here.
we're slowing down.
It's a slow season, I feel like
Right.
things are gonna
That's
with this
true.
podcast being released, it's
Bound to speed things up.
yeah, because probably I'll tell my mom about it, and she's good for a download. So
I think people are more interested in podcasts than music nowadays anyway.
I hope they are because I think this podcast has been 95% us talking about the music and 5% listening to it. So I hope they really like to listen to us talk about it.
this goes out. People actually would watch this. I thought we were just having a
It'll
catch-up.
mostly just be us.
This will mainly be for the grandkids, but
Great.
but Grant Potter, we'll just shout out to Grant Potter. He'll see it.
Nice.
He'd probably
What
stop
up?
now. This is way too long to go.
Well, that's fine. It's a nice catch up. And you did ask me a question. I can't remember exactly, but I do sort of being really stoked to come play with you guys. I think I was it? I think Hooray Who had probably disbanded.
Yep.
And so I'd come off of a couple 2-3 years of playing funk and kind of that whole faux ska kind of a thing, and it was a great time and I had fun with all those guys. But I was at that point I was a huge Weezer fan and big guitar fan, and like wanted to just have like another guitar player in the band that could like bounce harmonies off of and do like lead rhythm type stuff. And I was just like really excited to get into that. And we had a lot of fun. It was great. One of the best gigs I've ever played, I think about it maybe every 2-3 months, was the Kamikazes gig. And maybe you'll talk about this when you do the song of what's it, My Girlfriend Left Me, for the guy that cleans the pool. We did a sound check at Kamikazes and we showed up. We were opening for someone, I feel like. And
A chroma.
The chroma, that's right.
Okay. And true Kamikazes fashion, we show up and every speaker in the PA is blown. And the dude shows up a little bit late and he's like, "Oh yeah, you guys, I've got to replace some shit in the PA. Can you hang out for a minute?" We're like, "Yeah, no big deal, cool." And he spends like, I want to say 2 hours taking the speakers apart and replacing everything. And it's like the bar's full at this point, or as full as it's gonna get, let's be honest. So we're like, well, we could sound check or we could just go. And he's like, "Do you guys just want to go?" And we're like, "Yeah, let's go." And we were like, "Let's just play the one song that's our shortest song." And we played that song and it was like 30 seconds. We're like, "Thank you, good night. We've been on this."
I still tell that story.
It's a 30-second gig and it's my favorite.
I still
Is
tell
that how you guys remember it, or am I up in the night
No.
on that one?
100%.
I remember the guy started fixing the one speaker. This is how I remember it. Fix the one speaker, and that seemed like that took an hour. And so we're like already like, holy cow, this is so late. And he gets that one done, and we're like, okay, let's do this. He's like, "Oh no, I got to do the other one now."
Yeah.
And he had a
then-
giant ladder out because he had to get to the top boxes way up high.
And then
Yeah,
after he
yeah.
did the other speaker, then I remember we're like, let's get the best sound check we can get. And we were like, "Can you turn this up? I need this down. Can you fix the EQ on this?" And just kind of worked the sound guy over a little bit because we were so mad that he had just taken that long. And then we hit him with the 30-second song. Yeah. That's how I remember it. But it's been a while,
Yeah.
so I could be wrong.
Like, all right, we're ready to go. All right, we're wrapping cables up.
I remember Mike was packing up his cymbals while Wim was still playing his last solo.
Oh yeah. That had a true solo at the end of the live version. You guys had fucked off and I'm still going.
I just
That's
remember the
great.
sound guy up top. We finally get into the song. I see him. He's like sitting there rolling dials. He's gonna really finally dial this band in, and then he kind of looks up and he's all like, "What?" Remember the sound guy up there was like on the second floor
Yeah.
in the balcony doing the mix, and I remember just seeing like the silhouette of a guy going. I'm like, I don't know what you're expecting, man. This is the end of when we're supposed to get done. Because I remember we were like, if we keep playing longer, this is a Chroma's big moment. This is a Chroma's
Yeah,
big
they had just
moment.
recorded like a major label album with Sylvia Passy. Is that her name? Massey? Sylvia Massey? Passy? Anyway, the lady who recorded like Tool and a bunch of other people. They recorded with
wow.
her. And
I
I
didn't
have
know
their
that.
album. It's a great sounding album. And this was like their big, before we go out on tour, local release situation. And yeah, we weren't going to like take all their time.
Well,
you
yeah,
know?
we did him a solid, and for all we know, we probably blew the fucking speakers again.
Oh, that was great.
But I bet we gave it our all. That's the truth.
I bet we did.
I bet those were 30 good seconds.
Yeah.
It's probably the best version of that song ever.
You know what? I don't think we're going to do a whole podcast just for that song. Should we do it now while we got women here?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. So here is my girlfriend left me. Hold on, I got to show you what it looks like when you hover. Oh, it won't show. When you hover over it, the full song title pops up, which is my girlfriend left me for the guy that cleans the pools and delivers milk on the side, but she gets all the milk that she ever really wants, and she's got a really, really clean pool. Here we go.
My girlfriend left me
I like the lip
for the
smack at the
guy
beginning.
that cleans the pools and delivers milk on the side. But she gets all the milk that she ever really wants. She gets all the milk that she ever really wants. She gets all the milk that she ever really wants, and she's got a really, really clean pool.
Fade it out. That's right.
Nice. Good stuff.
Do you remember where those lyrics came from?
So I don't. I gotta believe I was broken up with my now wife at the time, and she was like semi-engaged to
The Milkman.
a dairy farmer, like a guy that
Oh.
owned a dairy farm. And so I gotta believe that the reference to the milkman. I knew he didn't clean pools, but I think the milkman reference was to him. And I think we tracked this one, didn't we? Like we just wanted to round the album out with 5 songs. Was that how we decided to add this one, or was it a legit
That's probably it.
I honestly don't remember writing this song.
Well,
Oh.
I can't think about this song and without thinking about the Kamikazes gig because it's the only song we played that set, and it just tickles me. I don't know why. I remember speaking to James Taylor, and we're not talking, our friend James Taylor, as referenced earlier in the podcast.
Not the folk singer.
He was there, and he was dying. Because he got, he was at every show. He got our sense of humor, and shout out James if you're watching the.
Our mechaniger, James Taylor, our mechaniger.
Yeah. Yeah, and that really tickled him that night we did that. But yeah, that's a big sounding song too. Like the guitars are huge. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, we didn't do anything small on this one. And I know we only really did two albums. We only really produced two albums, and then we were in the process of recording and writing and recording a third album. It's kind of weird to me. Like when you think about it in those terms, I mean, we really only had 15 songs that we released between two albums, but it felt like a really big time period, at least in my life.
Hmm.
It felt like a big time period for
Mhm.
15 songs. And I think it just kind of came down to we just had a funny, larger than life attitude about who we were and what we were doing. And but yeah, it was really just 15 songs and then an unreleased album and that was it. But it felt like kind of a big blip. Maybe that's just how it is in my mind, but that's how it felt at the time.
I think we were
Yeah.
doing like 3 rehearsals a week though. So it really occupied a lot of our lives at that time period. Because it
Wow.
was three
Right.
rehearsals and then shows and printing CDs at Kinko's or FedEx or whatever the place was that we went to print album covers and all of that. So it was everything during that
Plus,
time period.
plus the taco maker runs for
Yeah.
Yep.
a break during rehearsal and get a crisp bean burrito.
And if
Imagine bands nowadays have no idea what it's like being in a Kinko's at 2 in the morning printing stickers or flyers. That was like a regular thing that we did. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
people don't know what it's like to do flyers for a band show. You just don't do
Yeah.
that anymore.
I remember the Kinko's up on Harrison Boulevard. I don't think it's there anymore. But that one right up on
It's still there.
is it a Kinko's or it's a FedEx or whatever?
It's a FedEx now.
Oh yeah.
That one was open 24/7 for all the college students that needed to copy term papers or something. But so when the Layton one would close, we'd run out to Riverdale or to Ogden and use up all their toner.
We try to figure out ways that we could like get free, like a few copies for free by different. They'd give you like that counter thing.
Plug the counter into the machine and take it to the front like I made 15 copies.
What are some other memories of shows you guys have? Good shows that we played, or maybe something funny that happened. Another one I remember is we were playing at Trolley Square and Wim tore his ACL.
Charlie Square, or was that the weird, crazy, dark warehouse place on like the west side of I-15 that we played?
I think Danny's right. I remember, yeah, that sounds right. I remember they had like a drum riser, and I jumped off the thing and bent my leg backwards.
Ouch.
And I didn't know I'd torn my ACL until I went to do my wah pedal and put my weight on the back foot to do the wah, and I kind of crumbled again and thought, damn, that's gonna be serious. I
And then you were in a brace for a while, right?
had the surgery
Oh
for
wow.
it.
You had to
Yeah,
get surgery from an Old Man Johnson show. That's pretty rough.
pretty cool though. So I
Yeah.
don't know. Have you guys had any surgeries from shows or?
I don't have any scars.
I don't either. No, I've got like mental scarring, but not anything physical.
Plenty of
Was
that.
that was an outdoor show, right? At Charlie Square, that was like on an outdoor stage, or was that in the heart?
No, it was inside. There was this area that was like old movie theaters, or they would do comedy shows there. I think it's where we saw, what was that guy's name? Will something from
Will Sartain?
Will Sartain, and he
Chip my
like
tooth.
he chipped his tooth on the microphone,
That was at the University of Utah, wasn't it?
and then
I
he
thought that was a
started
University
singing.
of Utah gig where he chipped his tooth.
Oh, that's right. That was up at the U.
Oh, okay, yeah,
When
I can't remember, but that was a funny moment too, where he was singing, then the microphone hit him in the mouth, and he started singing, "I chipped a tooth." It was brilliant.
I remember that. I remember going to, did we open or did we just go see the Used play at one of those smaller venues?
We opened
down
for 'em.
there?
Before they
Yeah.
went and recorded their big album.
Yeah. Okay. I remember the show. I just couldn't remember if we'd played it, but it would make sense why I was there.
Was that Ed Shoop's place or was that
It was at Trolley Square, and it was we played like every version of the Jackson Street Junction Theater that there was,
Yeah.
which what was there, like 4 or 5 different versions of that?
I think so.
There was
and
the Ogden one, there was the Trolley Square one, there was another one in where
like
was
West
that?
Valley or something.
Like
Was it West
Murray or
Valley?
something.
And then there was one in Murray. He just kept going south. He started up on Jackson Street and then he's like, we got to keep
Yeah.
going south until we reach another Jackson.
Wasn't there some place we played that was like west of I-15.
Hmm.
That one, I
It,
remember it was like kind
it
of
was like a
scary.
boxing ring.
Yes.
Was it the
I
circuit?
That
remember
place.
that place.
I think you guys did, that's when you did some damage to your guitars via
Oh
lightsaber
yeah.
action.
No, it was the first day that I got that bass, and at the end of the show, or almost the end of the show, I tossed it up in the air. Usually, I was careful of how I threw it, and if I'd make sure they landed flat on the ground, and they would be okay. But this time, I just tossed it up, and it like came down on the neck, and I just watched the neck bend, and I thought it was gone, but it was still just fine. I don't even think it went out of tune.
I, I remember I remember the lightsaber fights between you and Wim on using the necks. That happened at a handful of shows.
That would munch through the strings too. I
Yeah.
remember learning that. I'd go to play and it would just like saw the strings right in half.
Yeah. I think it would have been this guitar that I did a lot of that with, and it's still got like divots in some of the frets up here from just like clanging it
Yeah.
together.
Well, it's funny because that bass that I sold, the Silvertone bass, the reason I can tell it's mine when I see it for sale is there's a couple of dents that are like crosshatches. It's the strings and the frets.
Yeah.
There's a couple of dents like that where you can see the strings and the frets and where it went in. That's how I know that that one was mine.
Cool.
Probably the final
Yeah.
the one that I really remember. I think it may have been our very last show, but it was the Return to Rock show. Ironically, not a full return. But the Return to Rock show that we did up at the Lair, up at Weber State, which we have recorded, which I would love to someday remaster and put up. But that had some really cool songs. Well, one, it had the Teleboinger. We had a whole Teleboinger set
That's
on that.
right.
And then we also did, there was a couple of them. Do you guys remember the song August to Mayfield?
Hmm.
Do you remember that one, Wim, about buckets and buckets and buckets of blood?
Yeah. Yeah,
That
vaguely.
song
Yeah.
is morbid and dark as ever. It's an investment because anytime somebody listens to it, it's a whole song about killing your grandma, and then she gets her her twist at the end. But it takes an investment to get to that end. It's an awkward
Don't
listen.
tell them what the twist is.
Okay,
They're
yeah,
gonna have to find out for themselves.
on a future release. But that one we tracked that show and we have all those recordings. I would love to release that one day because that one it was a fun show. We have just under 5 minutes, so everything's got to be pithy and worthwhile for the next 5 minutes. Sorry, you were
You
gonna
could play both songs and we'd still have a couple of minutes to talk.
listen to Should Rock all the way through twice. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
I would just say again, like, thanks for having me for this one. I feel like we talked about a couple cool songs, and it's probably gonna be your like best episode ever, I'm
100%.
guessing. So, thanks. It was really awesome to see you guys. I hope to see you soon, and maybe do this again down the road sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we
well,
should do it again for the other songs on this album too.
We have one left on this album.
yeah, we have Don't Ask Me. Don't Ask Me is the last one that we have on this album, and then I'm really excited to re-release unreleased super hits. I think we did some of our best work on that album. And I was just listening to it the other day, and it was in a pre-production phase. And I mixed it on, I think it was like a version of Cool Edit Pro in headphones in my barracks in Colorado. And because I'm like, I got to get this mixed before we deploy. And I was doing it and got it mixed, and I think it actually sounds freaking awesome. So we'll have to,
Cool.
if you'll indulge us, we'll have to have you back for some of those future listens.
Great. Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd love to hear those. It's been a long time. Was not California one of the grouping on that?
Mhm.
Yep,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
got
I
it.
think that song was supposed to go on this album, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, the first version of it we did at what was Nine Spine Stickleback's drummer's name?
Jeremy Child.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeremy.
Do you guys remember recording the first version in his basement in Roy?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
So let's see. Unreleased super hits had Tan Lines and Taping, Not California. Oh man, it had In the End. Actually, I don't know that that one was the wasn't that the Green Day song where Wim exploded his vocal cords
Yep.
screaming in that one. There was Evil versus Semi-Evil, Chinese Star, Bathtub, and then All by Myself. It was one of those Green Day songs that Wim blew his vocal cords.
It was All by Myself, I think.
That's like a 30-second
Go on.
bonus song, and we turned it into like a 90-minute or 9-minute epic song now,
Whoa.
or something like that. 6 minutes. It's long.
It
Much
was.
longer than the original.
So we got that. And you guys, I'm looking here too. Like we have the Return to the Rock show, which had such songs as we did probably a really crappy version of My Name is Jonas, if I'm not forgetting. We had the Walmart song live. We had Dime live, August the Mayfield. And we have some other ones too. We have an old one, Wim. I don't know that you've ever heard it. It was before you joined the band. It was just live from Liquid Joe's. It was a board mix.
I remember that.
And I just remember one of the songs was Sweatpants. That was one that we made up on stage, and Sweatpants was a really good one. So we'll have to listen to those in the future.
Awesome.
Okay, guys, we're going to run out of time. So we'll have to end it here. Wim, it was awesome to see you, man. 15 years. It's been on too long.
Holy cow. Yeah, man. Yeah, great to see you guys. Thank you for having me.
Okay, we'll catch
Yeah,
up.
it's great
later.
seeing you. We'll see you.
We'll see you guys.